and to discuss on the overall state of economy and on LIC Nomura Mutual Fund's new scheme, Auto Premium Payment System, we have with us Nilesh Sathe, the Director and Chief Executive Officer at LIC Nomura Mutual Fund. Hi Mr. Sathe, welcome to DD News. Pleasure having you with us. First of all, I would like to talk on the economy. You must have heard that after 3 months the quantitative easing would be resuming. These clouds definitely come in our sky again and again. How would the economy react then?
See, actually quantitative easing by Ben Bernanke is likely to be there, which was expected 3 days before, but it did not happen. Actually, it has been given a go by, I will say. That we saw the market immediately responded, Indian stock market by about 700 points. Of course, over a period of time, this quantitative easing is bound to happen, and we have to prepare ourselves for that. And in the RBI governor's statements that he made the next day after the Ben Bernanke statement, it was quite clear that we want to have a robust economy, and with the increase of repo rate and a cut in minimum margin, it was quite clear that we want to go ahead with the strong economy that we are planning for.
So that was, we can say that it was a season of surprises. Ben Bernanke, we were expecting he would taper the QE, and Raghuram Rajan might not raise the repo rates.
Actually, you are right that it was a bit of surprise, because it was not expected from Ben Bernanke, as well as it was not expected of Mr. Raghuram Rajan. But then Mr. Raghuram Rajan's action appears to be in line with the thinking process of Reserve Bank of India, because Reserve Bank of India has always been saying that we must first focus on bringing inflation under check. And so long as that is not done, do not expect any cut in any rates. So I think since inflation was not controlled to that extent, it was not expected that there will be any cut in the rates.
So you think Raghuram Rajan's step was fair enough?
This was expected, to be frank with you.
You were expecting this step?
Yeah, to be frank with you, I did not expect a miracle to happen. Because it cannot happen that just because a person had changed, the entire policy will undergo a change. And that is not a good sign as well from country's perspective. So I did not expect a sea change in the policy of Reserve Bank of India just because Mr. Raghuram Rajan has just taken over. But then it's a good policy, in my opinion, that over a long period of time it will definitely, the inflation will also come under control after the Kharif crops are available in the market. And that will, once the inflation eases, then Reserve Bank also will.
This is another news today that we are carrying as a headline, that Kharif rice output would be lower in this, the government has projected the rice output would be lower.
It's not one commodity actually. Inflation, what is going to be the price relativity of rice in the entire index of inflation, pretty low. But then all said and done, this year rain has been quite good in most of the states. Rain has been good, and it is expected that whatever all Kharif crops will definitely be better than what they were last year.
So would this affect the inflation numbers again?
It will come down. It has to come down. See, all said and done, it's a function of demand and supply. When new crops will be available in the market, obviously there will be supply will be more, and the prices will come down. Prices have to come down. It goes without saying.
Seeing the inflation numbers, WPI, that was okay. CPI numbers had gone up. The GDP number that had come 4.4%, that is also very low. How do you see the overall economy?
No, see, actually, you should not just think of whether the GDP is growing at 5% above or slightly less than 5%. Actually, 4.4 is not bad in respect of all the countries in the world, especially the developing countries are concerned. Brazil is not in a position to show that much of growth. China's growth also has tapered down, although it is more than ours. But all said and done, what we have to check is if we can control the current account deficit, and which Government of India and Finance Ministry is trying very hard. And the imports on account of gold are reduced. That is, our import bill on account of gold is reduced substantially. that will definitely help us to bring down the current account deficit. And now the import duty on gold has been increased. A lot of steps have been taken to ensure that the non-financial assets investments are controlled by people. They should not invest in non-financial assets. So good, and I am sure that these efforts will we'll be able to see results of these efforts of government as well as finance ministry.
The recent economic review that had happened, C. Rangarajan had said that achieving the growth target at the earlier target, that was most difficult, and then they had lowered it to 5 point something.
Yeah. Actually, something around 5% in my opinion is reasonable, and that is what we can achieve. And now of course everybody is saying that 6% is pretty difficult, although at some point of time we had more than 6% GDP growth also. But considering the oil imports bills that are going up, considering the current account deficit that we have, it appears to be a bit difficult for us to cross 5%.
Okay, what reasons do you attribute for this? Political instability, or inside domestic reasons?
Not instability as such. See, to be frank with you, this is what has happened in the last almost 6 months for all the currencies in the world. Dollar has become more powerful.
Yeah.
As a result of which, all the financial foreign institutional investors who were investing either in the bond fund or in equity market of India and the other countries as well, they have started withdrawing and putting money in their country itself. The bond rate in US has gone up to almost 3%, which had never happened in the past. So taking the currency hedge, risk of currency, why is it that somebody will invest dollars in other countries when they are getting a reasonable rate of return of 3%? Because that everybody will think of. And from that point of view, this has hit almost all the countries, and especially the developing countries. But considering the position of India, in my opinion, we are not that worse off. We are comparatively okay, because we have got very strong financial systems in place. Reserve Bank of India has been playing its role very efficiently. Political pressure on Reserve Bank of India, although can be expected, but they did not budge, to be frank with you. We have seen the earlier governor also, although there were pressures, he did not budge from his policy. So these are good signs, and these are strong points for our country, in my opinion.
So when you mention RBI's strict policy measures, they have also there has some reversals. There has been some reversals for the recent rupee supporting measures. Do you think the measures that have been in place till now are adequate enough for the currency?
See, actually, it's not a one-way traffic. You may take some measures, but then what is the position of dollar being strengthening? See, you can stop weakening of rupee, but you cannot stop strengthening of a dollar vis-a-vis other currencies in the world. So the issue is, America has been strong. It has actually, dollar has become more strong vis-a-vis not only rupee but other currencies in the world as well. But then that does not mean that we should not take any measures, and we should allow the dollar rupee equation to be decided by the market. And from that point of view, Reserve Bank of India as well as Government of India have taken adequate measures, and these measures are required, as a result of which we have found that once upon a time when rupee had depreciated to almost 70, is now stabilizing at about 62, 61, 62, 63. That, in my opinion, is the intrinsic value of rupee, because rupee otherwise, with so much of inflation, was overvalued. Now it is reasonably valued, I will say. So it should stabilize up to 64 rupees level, and that should be a reasonable level for rupee to find in the market.
So coming above 64 level also would be a problem for India?
Of course, because see, a weak currency creates problem for the country, because it affects everybody. It affects the imports, because you have to pay more amount of rupees, in case you are importing, and especially we have to import oil, and obviously for that you will have to shell out more dollars, more foreign currency will have to be given if your currency is weak.
So if I am saying that dollar the rupee takes back its original position that it was at 62, and if it comes back at 58 or maybe lesser than that, would it be a problem for India again?
It won't be a problem as such, but to be frank with you, rupee was at 50-55 level for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Although I can say that it should not have that level, because considering inflation in India vis-a-vis inflation in US and other countries, it should have depreciated, but it did not depreciate for some reasons. And again, expecting a rupee to go back to 50-55 level, in my opinion, is just impossible. But if it stabilizes at 60 to 64 rupees level, I think that is a reasonable level which rupee should find in the market.
Okay, and if we are also talking about crude oil prices now, for now the Syria attack from US has been postponed, but maybe it will come back in the skies once again. So crude oil prices might then again go up. But for now, it has stabilized. Why aren't Indian prices, petrol prices are coming down?
No, these are all artificially pegged up, you know. Like there is every possibility that the diesel and petrol prices must be increased, but government decides at appropriate time when to increase it. If you really want to have on daily basis whatever is the rate at which you are buying and at what you are selling, then on day-to-day basis you have to keep changing the oil prices, that means diesel and petrol for that matter. But government doesn't do that on day-to-day basis, but at appropriate time, taking into account what are the average prices for a week or 15 days, then they take this decision. But for a long time you cannot peg oil prices at a lower level to be sold in Indian market.
Okay, coming back to our previous discussion in the topic that rice output might be lower, would this put pressure, would this project on the food security program that UPA is coming up with?
See, actually food security program subsidy which is projected at about 1.1 lakh crores, already 70 to 75,000 crores was going into the food grain subsidy. So it is not that substantially it has gone up, and again it is not going to go up to 31st of March to that extent. It may go up in the next full year, but not up to 31st of March. So the pressure on current account deficit rising because of food subsidy, in my opinion, is not going to be substantial by the end of this fiscal. It may be in the next fiscal.
So we might be able to achieve the fiscal target.
That's true. We should be in a position to.
Okay, and another project by the UPA is land acquisition bill. How do you see the land acquisition bill? Because the markets was hesitant when the land acquisition bill had been passed by the houses.
Yeah, no, all these are progressive steps, to be frank with you, and at some point of time or the other you must either by force or maybe by ordinance or by mutual understanding, you must ensure that these developing steps that you have to take must be taken ahead. So food security bill, or maybe for that land acquisition, whatever it is, these things were essential. Same thing was essential as far as inviting foreign direct investment in retail, in multi-branded retail, or in insurance, or in pension sector is concerned. These things are required, and we must take these things forward, because these are developing steps that we must take.
Now coming towards your forte, your topic of expert, what is the significance of financial planning?
See, in everybody's life, financial planning is absolutely important, because unless it is always said that plan or perish.
Yeah.
And many times it is seen that people do not plan well as far as their finances are concerned, and as a result of which when they grow old, they do not have sufficient savings to their credit, as a result of which either they have to work even after retirement, or maybe they have to reduce their standard of living considerably. So it is absolutely important that during your earning phase of life, you must plan in such a way that, one, during your earning phase you should have whatever you have planned should happen, and number two, after your retirement you should have sufficient money at your disposal to take care of your retired life. So financial planning definitely has an important role to play in everybody's life.
And if we are to talk on the importance of financial literacy, and also where has India till now reached the target of, has it reached somewhere even the target of financial inclusion?
Oh my God, actually financial literacy, although to be frank with you, everybody is literate now, most of the people I will say, but financial literacy is pretty low. I have seen many times, especially the better half, the women are earning, but their financial decisions are not in their hands.
Right.
They leave it to their,
Husbands.
either husband or brother or father or somebody. That is something which is not good. In my opinion, it's not too difficult. You can understand, where to put money. Now, if somebody says that I will give you 30% rate of interest, common sense prevails that nobody can afford to give 30% rate of interest. So there must be something fishy in this particular scheme. It is not that somebody should tell you that. You should understand it. A reasonable rate of interest, we find banks are giving 9%, 10%. So in that, if a reasonable rate of interest you find in mutual funds, in bank, in insurance, these are the instruments where you should think of investing.
Talking about your new scheme, auto payment
premium
payments system, what is it all about?
See, actually what happened, LIC Nomura Mutual Fund is an offshoot or is a joint venture of Life Insurance Corporation of India and Nomura Asset Management Company of Japan. To piggyback on LIC's trust and LIC's brand image, we thought we should have some unique product by way of which we should be in a position to get the LIC clients coming into the hold of LIC Nomura Mutual Fund. In the meanwhile, it was found that LIC had a scheme of accepting advance premiums up to 5 years. That was stopped by IRDA. So we thought that if a person has to go abroad or doesn't want to have a botheration of remembering the dates of premium, if he can put some money in one go in LIC Nomura Mutual Fund, and we take the responsibility based on his mandate to keep on paying his premium whenever it is due to LIC, it will help both. One, lapsation will go down from LIC's point of view, and two, we will be in a position to get more clients. So we came out with this particular scheme, and we are getting very good response for this.
All right. So what do you think of the mutual fund industry?
Mutual fund industry is bound to grow. Actually, in US, 23% of the gross domestic savings are put in mutual fund. But in India, you will be surprised that it's not even 1%. So there is a lot of scope for financial instruments, especially in mutual funds, for people to put in money. And mutual fund is coming out with a lot of new schemes, and there is a lot of scope for mutual funds in India to pitch into the domestic savings of individuals.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us and having that brief discussion. Thank you very much.
So much.
Moving on, global activist group Greenpeace India released a report